Educator Effectiveness Committee is called to order. May I please have a roll call?
Dr. Beebe?
Present.
Dr. Beebe is present. Ms. Volpe?
Here.
Ms. Volpe is present.
I'll do a letter also.
Ms. Bradford?
As soon as I get the email, I'll forward it to them.
Ms. Bradford is not present. Mr. Garvey? Mr. Garvey is not present. Mr. Gio? Mr. Gio is present. Ms. Harris? Ms. Harris is present. Ms. Hill?
Present.
Ms. Hill is present. Dr. Moranti?
Present.
Dr. Moranti is present. Ms. Orange Jones?
Present.
Ms. Orange Jones is present. Mr. Romer?
Here.
Mr. Romer is present. Ms. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Smith is present. Ms. McKinney? Ms. McKinney is not present. You have a quorum.
Okay. First item, please.
The consent agenda is ready for approval, adding items 4.4 and 4.5.
Okay. Can I please have a motion? Dr. Moranti, second by Ms. Bofi. Are there any objectives? Objections? Thank you. Next item.
On page 1, item 2.1, consideration of the request from Loyola University New Orleans to advance to level 2 state approval. The recommendation is to approve.
Okay. Ms. Bofi's moves, and then Dr. Moranti seconds. Discussion on this? Okay. All right. Motion passes. Next item.
On page 2, item 2.2, consideration of the Teacher Education Accreditation Council accreditation and continued state approval of Centenary College. Recommendation is to approve. Second.
Okay. Ms. Bofi and then Mr. Gio. Questions? All right. Having none, motion carries. Next item.
On page 6, item 2.3, consideration of the Teacher Education Accreditation Council accreditation and continued state approval of Louisiana College. Recommendation is to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Moranti. Second, Mr. Gio. Any questions, objections? Having none, motion carries. Next item.
The next item is 3.1, consideration of revisions regarding early childhood education workforce certification. First, we're going to take Bulletin 746, Louisiana Standards for State Certification of School Personnel. And the recommendation is to approve as amended as a notice of intent.
Okay, Superintendent.
Do you want to do that?
Oh, sorry. Can I please have a motion for that?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Bofi. Mr. Gio. Go ahead.
Thank you. Members, I just want to bring your attention. In this committee, this will really be the most significant policy that we address today. These are requirements for teachers and their qualifications as part of the early childhood system. This is part of our Act 3 Early Childhood Network improvements. And here are the following major policies. First, we're going to maintain the requirement for a bachelor's for teachers in our LA4 and private school programs, pre-kindergarten. Secondly, we're establishing a new ancillary teaching certificate, which is required as a minimum expectation for for teachers who are teaching in an early childhood center. And we are establishing a birth to kindergarten bachelor's bearing credential as well. What that basically means is if you're teaching in a child care center, you must have what's called a CDA, but you can fold that into this birth to kindergarten license, which will allow those folks to continue and get their bachelor's if they seek to do so more easily. This is a big shift for our child care providers. It is at the same time maintaining a high standard of excellence in our schools that have always provided that level of excellence. On the text that you have in front of you, there is one change that was made as a result of our discussions with policy experts over the last couple of days. The change aligns the requirements of the Birth to K certificate add-on and the pre-K certificate add-on so that they're consistent. In other words, individuals who hold certificates in the elementary grades can add on either of those certificates if they have demonstrated a couple of specific criteria. So these are addressing specific add-ons to current certificates so that folks develop that expertise. And we will be developing the criteria necessary to achieve those add-ons subsequent to us adopting these regulations. This has been a long time in the making, and I saw her here before, but Jean Burns was here at some point earlier, and I hope will be back. Also, I want to thank Jenna. There she is. Melanie Bronfman worked very hard on this. Thank you, Melanie. And on my team, Jenna Conway, Hannah Deach, and our policy team worked a lot on this together. So thank you for everybody. This has been a long time coming, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Jones. Superintendent White, what is the, just talk through a little bit, I see January of 2018. How would this phase into existing providers and workers?
This will be, we will be stepping up the scholarships that are used to fund child care workers achieving this credential. So the biggest change will not be in LA4, it will not be in private school, and it really won't be in Head Start. It will be in child care. Many child care teachers have this CDA, this multiple course sequence that gives them an associate's level credential, but some do not. They will need over the next 3 years to get 4 years to get the credential through a community and technical college. The community and technical colleges will offer the courses. They will be funded through a combination of federally funded scholarships as well as tax credit generated supports that go directly to the employee. There's a set of tax credits in the state that can be funded and then go directly for professional development for the teacher pursuing advanced credentials. So they'll have several years. They can easily achieve it over that time, and it will be funded. The challenge, as Ms. Bronfman has pointed out earlier today, is really about the ongoing salary for such people. We estimate that it is $5,180 per child to adequately fund a college-educated professional in a classroom of 4-year-olds. We are currently in child care only funding $1,750 per child. So that's really where the ongoing issue is. I believe there will be a package of proposals made in the legislature this year for increased ongoing funding in the child care setting. But that is obviously an issue the legislature is considering.
Any other questions from the board? Dr. Beeben.
So, Superintendent White, I know in prior discussions, and I think you just spoke to it, but I just want clarification. And certainly I support certification, I support standards, but with regard, I know some of the child care providers stated that it's going to prove challenging once these people earn these degrees, if you will, or certification, that they won't stay in the child care facilities, that they will move to the the public schools. So is that what you just referenced, or was it that the monies paid to the for assistance in securing these degrees?
No, I think the money for securing the degrees we'll be able to take care of. We can use the child care development funds that now our agency and BESE get to fund those things, as well as tax credits that go direct to the teacher. I think the concern is more the ongoing paying for a professional staff as opposed to more of a lower wage staff. And that's an issue that the state really we just need to call the question on, and if it's not solved over the course of the next several years, we're going to have a real challenge. But in terms of just achieving the degree, we can get to the teachers there. Yep.
Okay. We have one public comment, Melanie Bronfman.
Busy Early Childhood Day. Melanie Bronfman with the Policy Institute for Children, and I won't take much of your time except to just pause for a moment and tell you how wonderful these bulletins are the culmination of years of work by many folks that really much predating even Act 3, but Act 3 embraced it. The department embraced this work and took it to a whole new level. And just in terms of trying to professionalize this whole continuum of birth through 4, this goes so far. And there's so many people I feel like I'm at the Academy Awards where there's so many people I want to thank who have contributed to this, who've done so much work, much of it volunteer, including who couldn't be here today, Jerry Pincel, when she was high in the community and technical college system, and then after she retired as a volunteer, she worked tirelessly on this in Martha South. And I cannot thank enough Jean Burns with the Board of Regents. When we went to her and said, you've got to start with clock hours, you're talking about a population that may not even have a high school degree, and we need to build from someone who gets a high school degree and then the CDA certificate that you can get with just a high school degree, but create clear pathways within so that people don't hit these dead ends when they're trying to move up and get an AA and get a BA, which is what we had before in our. These will be stackable courses starting from clock hours with the CDA. And for our higher ed to embrace that and make that happen has just been wonderful. And so I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone and thank y'all for your support of this and the department and certainly the Board of Regents and Jean Burns. So thank y'all so much.
All right, thank you. Are there any objections to this motion? Having none, the motion carries. Thank you. Next item.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 3.1B on page 18, Bulletin 996, Standards for Approval of Teacher and/or Education Leader Preparation Programs. Again, the recommendation is to approve as a notice of intent.
Okay. May I please have a motion?
I move.
Dr. Beebe? Move. Second, Ms. Bophy. Any discussion? Okay, there's one comment card. Again, Melanie Bromfin. Melanie? Do you want to speak? Okay. Great. Any objections? Great. Motion carries. Next item. Thank you.
This is on page 19, item 4.1, consideration of a records review regarding the issuance of a Louisiana teaching certificate appropriate to the credentials of Ms. Latasha Brown. The recommendation is to either grant or deny.
I move to grant.
Okay, we have a motion to grant. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Guillot. Any discussion? First of all, is Ms. Brown here? You might just want to come. Are there any questions from the board?
I'd like to hear any comments.
Yeah, would you like to just give us a
Good afternoon. My name is Latasha Brown. I'm currently teaching third grade at Baker Fair Elementary, and I just want to thank the board and helping me to pursue my dream of teaching, and not, prevent me from doing it based on something that happened when I was young and foolish. And I just appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Are there any objections? Okay. Having none, the motion carries. Thank you. Next item.
On page 44, item 4.2, consideration of a records review regarding the issuance of a Louisiana teaching certificate appropriate to the credentials of Ms. Judith Williams. The recommendation is to either grant or deny.
I move to grant.
Okay, is a motion to grant? Second by Ms. Hill. Ms. Williams? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Board. Thank you. I think this is a privilege to be before you. You could have made the decision without us being able to be here, but thank you for having me here. And I just want to say that it is my passion, almost 20 years of teaching, it is my passion to teach children. And from my experiences of what I've learned from my past and my mistakes, it's given me more stamina to be around children, to help them make right choices in life. And that's why I want to go back into the teaching profession. I've set out 3 years, and my heart aches every morning. So to get up, I presently go to LaSalle Agriculture School in Bunkie, Louisiana. I'm the 7th and 8th grade science teacher on a day-to-day basis. And I love it, and I see 150 students a day, and I want to be there for them. And I want to thank you for your support in helping me get back in my profession.
Thank you. Ms. Bradford?
So you feel like your experiences have made you able to talk with students about choices and
Yes,
how to
ma'am.
make good ones?
Yes, ma'am, making the right choices. Just going through that experience, I see children coming in that have a hard time in life besides their books, and it helps me to be more compassionate with them and not to overlook them if they have failing grades, because there's something going on in their life that I can be that support. And each and every day, I see myself making a difference in their life, and I believe my past experience allowed me to make a better choice in working with these students. And I'm able to help them through the things that I went through and made a bad choice. And I hit it head on, and I'm stronger than I've ever been before in life. And I think I can do that and help students make choices that they don't have to go down the wrong path in life. I think it helped me to help them.
Ms. Bothey?
The documents didn't make clear the situation with the restitution. Can you help us understand that?
The restitution is to be paid on a monthly basis, and I do pay that. And at any time, when I can afford a lawyer, I can have a lawyer. It's a civil case. I can have a lawyer go before the courts to have the restitution written off. I just have to have a lot of money to do that, and that's my goal, to have that restitution either paid in full or to have some of it written off. That's an option that I have, but I do pay it on a monthly basis. Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions from the board? Are there any objections to the motion on the table? Okay, having none, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
On page 82, item 4.3, consideration of a records review regarding the issuance of a Louisiana teaching certificate appropriate to the credentials of Ms. Desiree Knighton. The recommendation is to either grant or deny.
I move to grant.
Okay. There's a motion by Dr. Beebe to grant.
I'll second.
There's a second by Ms. Hill. Ms. Knighton. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Desiree Knighton. I would like to thank you all so much for granting my certificate. I feel that it's my passion to teach children and to also make sure they do not go down the same path that I went down.
Okay, are there any questions from the board? Any objections to the motion? Oh, wait, there's a question. Ms. Bradford.
You have fulfilled all requirements for your, I don't know if it was probation, restitution. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Yes, that happened when I was 17 years old.
Yeah, so you're done with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any objections? Having none, the motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. That concludes the agenda for Educator Effectiveness.